Welcome back to another Quick Tip Tuesday. Today's tip is a little bit different. It's not based on a question coming from any of you. It is based off of observations coming from me. And also as a follow-up for an episode I did a few weeks ago where we talked about planning and managing summertime with kiddos, especially when you might want to provide a little bit of structure for the kids, a little framework, I should say, not necessarily structure, but a little framework for them to manage their time that doesn't involve excessive screen time or the incessant question of, Mom, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Or I'm bored. Oh, the dreaded I'm bored. That question, I don't think I mentioned last week, maybe I did, or last time, but that I'm bored is a phrase that I always counter with boredom is a choice. So if you don't want to be bored, what choice can you make in order to counter that? And that daily 5 has been set up in order to counter boredom. I don't want my kiddos to be bored during the summer. I want them to have a fun summer. I want them to play and enjoy the outdoors and explore and learn and build and run jump in the pool and play in the water and do all the things. And I don't want them to be tethered to a screen. I don't want them to be tethered to, just sloth-likeness. Of course, there are moments and days, and that's great. And I want them to have that. But I don't want that to be the framework for them. I don't want them to enter into the habit of inactivity. Okay, so if you have not listened to that episode, I do want you to go back. I can't remember what number it is, but it's just a few episodes ago, talking about beating summer boredom. Go back, and if you are at all needing a little bit of framework to manage your summertime days, give it a try, and then let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you have. Pop into the Facebook group and make sure you ask there. And just a quick reminder, the Facebook group is an extension of the podcast. So if you have questions that arise when you're listening to a podcast, go over there, ask in the Facebook group. There are so many women who are listening just like you are and want to engage in that conversation. It's a community that is being built, and it's lovely, and I encourage you to go there. And so you can get there by going to bit.ly/design101 group. Okay, back to today's quick tip. And it's in relation to what happens when the structure or the framework that you are providing, and it doesn't have to be summer related, but for me, and in this instance, and why I'm talking about it today, it is. But what happens when the structure you are working with, the parameters you're working with, the thing that you are planning is not going to plan? What happens? What do you do? And if you are a regular listener, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. You may have wondered, wait, where's Danny? She wasn't here last week. I wasn't there. I didn't show up Tuesday. I didn't show up Thursday, and I gave no forewarning because, quite honestly, I had no forewarning. And if you are new here, and you may be thinking, gosh, where was she? Here's a podcast with no podcast. You may be wondering, well, that's lame. Where was she? Here's the story. Here's what was happening and why I want you to stick around to the end. When I started the podcast 1 year ago, I started with one episode every Thursday morning, and I was consistent every Thursday morning. And in November, I decided, as I was getting more and more questions, I wanted to provide a quick tip for all of you. And you, come on, if you have been around for a while, you know I say nothing quickly. It is pretty a long-winded tip, and my quick tip Tuesdays have become a lot of times, pretty long episodes. And putting one out a week is, of course, work. Putting 2 out a week is, of course, more work. And as the summer was going on and we finished our 1 year celebration, yay, 1 year, I can't believe it. We finished 1 year celebration and I was starting to get into our own rhythm of the summertime, we were hit kind of pretty hard. If you've been listening to, you might know that I have just recently sustained a back injury that I am trying to heal from. Recently, meaning we're now on week 5. And then right after school, actually interrupted the last day of school for us, we all got sick. Big C sick, and we needed to stay home, and we were out of commission for a while, and I kept my any obligation that I needed to keep, I kept. That of course could be done safely, but any teaching obligation I had, anything that I could do online safely, I did. But that zapped me from energy, and then we rolled right into vacation, which of course is a lovely, wonderful time. Throw in an ailing, aging, failing, sweet as can be, geriatric dog, who, if you follow me on Instagram, might have noticed a Fergus Files, a little tab, and Fergus is my sweet, sweet rescue dog who has been with us for, we think, 8 years. I don't know. Time has gone so quickly, but we didn't get him when he was a puppy, so we don't really actually know how old he is. So time is really ambiguous with this guy, but he is demanding more of us, more patience, more care, more 2 a.m. wake-ups to let him out in the middle of the night. It's been a lot. So the last 3 weeks for me have been a lot. And as I've been sitting here thinking, all of these events falling on the heels of this great episode about creating framework for your summer, this framework that allows you time and space to do whatever it is that you need to get done, whether you're working from home or you are running a business from home, or you need to have time to pay the bills or do the whole house chores, or whatever it is that you need space and time to do at home while your kiddos are home for the summer. These events happened in succession and got me thinking. So today's quick tips are all based around my personal experience with that and how I'm navigating this new little world and adjusting and giving myself just a teeny tiny bit of grace. So that's what happened last week. Last week, it all was happening. Everything I just said. And I couldn't show up on Tuesday. And then we left for vacation on Thursday, which, by the way, vacation was a beach vacation. And hint, hint, Thursday's episode is so much fun. And it has something to do with the beach vacation and home decor. That's all the hints you're going to get. You're going to have to come back on Thursday to listen to what I mean by that. Okay, so what happens when your plans go haywire, when the framework you have for your summer, or just the expectation you have set out, goes a little bit wonky? What happens? And what happens in my case is a couple things, 4 things. The first thing is I'm re-examining my goals. What are the goals I have for my summer? And as I set my framework, you heard me say, if you listen to that episode, I didn't want 5 hours of work this summer. 5 hours of work a day this summer. I wanted it to be less than that. I wanted to have a few hours less. I wanted to allow myself some time to do home projects if my back was feeling better. I wanted to allow myself more playtime with my children. I wanted to allow myself more just summer enjoyment. If you've ever been to the Northwest in the summer, they are glorious. Please come then, because all the rain that you think that you hear about is, it's kind of true. But in the summertime until the end of September is so fantastic. So I want to be outside and enjoy. I want to garden and play. So I want to have a little bit more wiggle room to do that. So I'm assessing my goals and I'm checking what is the goal for my summer? Well, my goal is to spend time with my children. I have a 15-year-old, and if you've heard the phrase, you have 18 summers, that I'm looking down the barrel on that. My voice is getting a little bit changing just a little because the emotion is definitely there. I don't want to be working so much during the day that I'm not enjoying my time with him and the other two. So what is my goal? My goal is to spend more time with my children this summer. Also, while being efficient. And you heard me say too in the year recap that my goal is to systemize my workload. I just had a conversation with my brother-in-law over our holiday weekend, and he asked me what my days look like and how I structure my time and how I'm able to manage everything that I need to manage, because he knows I have weekly deadlines and all of that. Actually, I think there is some question of what is it that you do? And maybe that will be a quick tip, how I manage all of the things that I do, and really lay that out so that you know that it is possible if you are systemizing and managing your time. But my goal this summer is to systemize it and manage it even better so that I can work less. That's my goal. And in order to spend more time with my kiddos. So the first thing I'm doing is prioritizing my goals, or not prioritizing, I'm revisiting what my goals are. What are they? And reminding myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right, I am recording in my favorite outdoor office, my backyard. It is glorious out here today. So if you hear the comings and goings of garden, of planes, I think there might be some construction work happening at the park. I'm hearing all kinds of noises, but I hope you feel like we're out here having coffee together, because my coffee is sitting right here by my side. So the first thing I did is looked at and reevaluated my goals. Are my goals still in alignment with what I hope to have happen for the summer? Yes, I want to work less and have more time with my children. That means I need to work smarter, not harder. And I found myself until last week working harder. I wasn't being efficient with my time. So what do you do next? Number 2 is I am assessing and adjusting. I'm checking what is working, and I'm going to adjust and tweak and go from there. What is working for me is not necessarily what I had in mind. Taking care of a geriatric dog who needs to wake up in the middle of the night means I can't necessarily wake up at 5 o'clock every morning when I wake up at 3 to let him out. And sometimes I have a hard time going back to bed. So I'm adjusting my wake up time. I'm doing it for my own sanity, quite honestly. I'm doing it because I would get such little sleep. But what does that mean for me in terms of work? Means I don't necessarily have the capacity and the amount of time that I thought I did when I planned out my goals and the framework for my summer at the beginning of the summer. I don't have that. I don't have the luxury of that. I have to assess and adjust. I have a few big goals that are going to be that I'm working towards for the end of the summer, and those and my podcast are my priority this summer. So I'm going to manage my time and manage my schedule in order to accommodate meeting those specific work goals and those specific timelines. Of course, throwing in clients and working with those clients. So I'm adjusting and assessing my priorities based on daily, weekly, and monthly deadlines. And then I'm managing my expectations. This is the hardest thing. This is number 3. I'm managing my expectations because what I expected my summer to look like is not what my summer is turning out to be. What I hoped that my summer would look like is not what it's turning out to be. Nursing and trying to heal the back issue, coming back from the illness and taking care of an ailing dog, those were not in my timeline. Those were not in my plan. Those were not anywhere on the picture. And yet here we are. So I'm managing my expectations, not getting frustrated by the things that are put in place that I have no control over. I'm being mindful and thankful for the day that's before me, and I'm taking one step forward at a time towards meeting the deadlines that are the prioritized deadlines. And that means giving myself some grace. And that's tip number 4, is to give yourself some grace. Sometimes things don't work out as planned, and it's okay. It is absolutely okay. And sometimes the idea of you working for work's sake or doing the thing for the thing's sake isn't enjoyable. It's not enjoyable. And so as I approach the rest of my summer, and to recap for you, some of the things when they're not going to plan, what you can do is to, number 1, check what your goals were in the first place, see if they're still in alignment. And I might add, if you're throwing in work, what are your deadlines? Do you have deadlines? And whether that's housework or work from home work or run your own business work, whatever that is, what are your goals and what are the deadlines for those goals? And then number 2 was to assess and adjust based on the priorities that you have, meaning the deadlines, the things that you already have on the calendar. And then managing your expectations, making sure that the expectations that you had in line in the beginning when you set those goals are really, truly what it is that you want to accomplish. And then give yourself some grace. Grace for not getting it all done. Grace for understanding that there might be hiccups in the road. Grace for knowing that it's okay. I took a week off last week and I didn't tell you guys. And grace for that. It is going to be okay. So what does that mean moving forward? So I was thinking about this before last week, and this last week was just a great example of why I need to do what I'm about to say. But, when I started the podcast, I started with 1 episode. I started last June, and until November, we had just 1 episode. And in November, I thought, well, let's throw in the Quick Tip Tuesday as a way to answer some of the questions that are coming in and to encourage more communication and to encourage community building over in the Facebook group by engaging that way and tying the Facebook group and the podcast together, remembering that the Facebook group is an extension of the podcast and is a great place to build community for women who are wanting the same thing as you are, who are wanting to grow and learn about their home. And that, of course, is extra work. I've very much enjoyed it, and I very much enjoyed the weekly teaching on Thursdays. But what I'm doing with all of these framework things in mind moving forward, as I'm looking at the goals I've set for my summer, and I'm assessing and adjusting based on the priorities I have in line for work this summer, and managing my expectations, I'm giving myself the grace to say, until September, I am going to be this is my last Quick Tip Tuesday until September. I'm going to be taking a break from the Quick Tip Tuesday until the first Tuesday in September. And that is, it doesn't mean I'm taking a break on Thursdays. I'm going to continue showing up on Thursdays and will continue to do that. But I'm going to give myself the grace to say, I will see you in September for the Quick Tip Tuesday. Now, what I am hoping from all of you is that you will either join the Facebook group, send me some DMs on Instagram, or send me an email with all of your questions. As they pop into your mind, send them to me. I want to make sure that I am still hearing what you have to say, and so that when I come back in September, I have a full queue of questions ready to go, so that we can hit the ground running. And I do have a few questions waiting to be answered, and I will answer those then. But send them to me. Make sure that you, as you're working on your home projects this summer, as you're thinking about, gosh, what would I do here? Send them to me. And if it's urgent, I feel like I'm a doctor's office right now. When they say, if you have an urgent issue, please call 911. If your question is urgent, you know what to do. Please call me. Book that call to make sure that you get that question answered. I am still taking clients, and I'm still working on projects, and all of that's happening. The thing I'm doing with scaling back this summer is not doing the Quick Tip Tuesday. So if you have a question that you need to have answered, a second opinion that you need, book that 45-minute call And you can do that by going to figandfarmathome.com/book a call. And you can book a Zoom meeting with me and we can answer those questions. So that will be your SOS direct line to getting that question answered and not waiting until September. And in the meantime, I want you to know that whatever it is you have in line for your summer, and if you need to give yourself a little bit of grace for waiting for it to get done, whether it's the home business you're working on or the deadline you have at work or just keeping up with, which I don't want to say just, it is a big job to stay at home with your babies and provide a stable, loving, caring, nurturing environment for them and keep a clean house and do all the things. So if that is your mission this summer, bless you. And just remember to manage your expectations. Think about the goals that you have in mind. Assess and adjust as you need to based on the priorities you have in line. And then just give yourself a lot of grace so that you can make sure that you are enjoying those babies that you're working so hard for. All right, you guys, that is it for today. Our last Quick Tip Tuesday until the very beginning of September. Keep those questions coming and make sure that you have hit subscribe so you can hear the new episodes coming out every Thursday. And be sure to book a call if you need those questions answered before September. All right, until next time, I'll see you soon.